at Lake Norman today in North Carolina for the $289,000 Bassmaster BP Top 100. This first morning, our Bassmasters camera crew is covering Guy Ecker, a Cherryville, North Carolina-based pro and the pre-tournament favorite. Local knowledge is expected to be an advantage on Lake Norman, not regarded as an easy bass fishery. Catching largemouth bass is not the problem. 14-inch keeper-sized bass is. Big bass are a bonus. A good game plan is to put the electric motor down and go. That's Ecker's strategy. He's covering water, fishing a spinnerbait. It's mid-May. The seasonal pattern is post-spawn. Bass are moving out of the shallow coves. Boat docks, rock riprap, fallen trees, and shoreline bushes hold the bass. Evidently, Guy's got their address. He's getting strikes, but not size. He needs bigger fish, 5 for a limit. Mississippi pro Paul Elias, the 1982 world champion, has a good one. This one hit a topwater jerkbait.
That was a Lake Norman hog.
Peter Tilaveras, the #1 ranked pro on the Bassmaster BP Top 100 Tour. Peter T's fishing a favorite lure here, the Carolina-rigged plastic lizard. It's paying off for the Jacksonville, Florida angler. Numerous patterns seem to be working. Topwater for sure. Gary Klein of Texas is fishing a shad imitation lure, the Sluggo, a soft plastic jerkbait. Will one of these pros and patterns be the winning combination? Stay tuned to find out. I'm Bob Cobb. The Bassmasters continue in a moment with the BP Top 100 from Mooresville, North Carolina.
Lake Norman, North Carolina. Day 1 weigh-in of the 4-day Bassmaster BP Top 100. A gathering of the best pro fishermen on the Bassmaster Tournament Trail. And a good crowd on hand, fishing fans, and curious local fishermen wondering how the BASS pros will fare on their lake, which at 32,500 acres is the state's largest body of freshwater. Known as the Inland Sea to Carolinians, it's often referred to as the Dead Sea by bass fishermen. Plenty of small bass, but few largemouths to brag about. Let's see how the pros score.
Wait now, Stanley Mitchell's in there like Flynn. Watch out, folks. Look out for Stanley. 17 pounds, 14 ounces. Mark it to send him home. Boy, well, look, folks, let's give him a hand. 2 magnificent bass. Hold them both up. Look here, folks. This bass is the biggest bass we've seen. As a matter of fact, you've got 2 big bass. Well, how close together were they caught?
About 4 hours apart, Ray. It was just one of them days I couldn't do anything wrong. I picked up a jig after I'd caught the first big one, and I had a limit. And I was just going down the banks, throwing it around. I caught the second big one, so it just one of them days nothing could go wrong.
17 pounds, 14 ounces. That's the big string. And Stanley's 6-pound, 4-ounce lunker earns $1,000 for the day's big bass. And the lead over Tennessee's Tom Buckingham with 14 pounds, 5 ounces. Jim Bitter of Florida is third with 14.2. And fourth goes to Texan Zell Rowland, 12 pounds, 6 ounces. However, big fish are at a premium. The 528 bass weighed in average only 1 pound, 6 ounces. But that's not the only standings of interest. There's the BASS Angler of the Year race. Kevin Van Dam, the Michigan whiz kid, is fighting to hold on against his boyhood hero, Rick Clunn, 4-time world champion.
7 pounds, 11 ounces, and he's sweating a little bit. The word I heard early, Clunn was on fish.
Well, Rick's a great fisherman, and I'm sure he'll be catching them here. It's not hard to catch fish here. It's just the size that's hard to come by. And if he can get on some bigger fish, you know, he may do it.
Rick Clunn gains 1 pound, 2 ounces today, but still trails by over 11 pounds with 3 days to play.
Are you gonna try to do something radically different, or is there anything you can do other than just hope?
Well, I'm trying to mix 2 things together. You know, the first couple of days, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I get a limit, or at least try to get a limit, because you never know. Fishing's a funny thing, and he could have an extraordinary bad day, which he hadn't had in 2 years.
Day 2. Tournament leader Stanley Mitchell returns to Hicks Creek, a stained water tributary up the Catawba River. He's casting a 1/2-ounce Stanley spinnerbait with silver and gold willow leaf blades. the key lure in yesterday's impressive creel. But this bass won't help. It's short of the 14-inch size limit. However, Mitchell's on to bigger fish, the late spawners.
What I'm doing, I'm fishing the guts primarily for the last few, I think, just trying to bed, and then I'm catching some out on the main creek that I think's already left. They're already through, and they're back out feeding on shad.
Zell Rowland in fourth is on a strong early topwater bite, and he's already got a limit. Zell switched from a pop-R on rocky main lake points to a jerkbait, a rogue, fished in areas between the docks. His secondary pattern is working too, but he needs a big bite.
I hadn't caught that many big fish out from underneath the docks. They've all been in areas where most of the guys that would be fishing would probably not catch one because they've been in between the docks up against the bank.
First day leader Stanley Mitchell knows where the big fish hole up.
What? I wish y'all could have seen that fish come out there and got that bait then. I saw him swallow it.
Day 2 weigh-in, and the catches appear to be down from yesterday. However, Rick Clunn is making a move on Kevin Van Dam in the Angler of the Year chase.
He has 9 pounds, 15 ounces. Let's give him a nice hand. He's still closing the gap, and let's weigh his biggest bass. He's working his best to catch a few big fish. He's got to have a couple of big ones to even have a hope of moving in on the kid.
Tournament leader Stanley Mitchell has the 5 bass limit and another good bag.
10 pounds even. Mark it. 10-0. Let's give him a good hand. He's got one more big bass, folks. That's the stinker. Look, that's what it takes. That's the biggest bass of the pros. He had 2 of the largest bass yesterday. Hey, here we are the second day with another good keeper. What are you doing?
Well, mainly, Ray, I'm fishing with bigger baits than probably what I ought to be doing. I was way behind on the Classic, and I figured I might as well take a chance and use big baits and maybe catch, you know, a few bigger fish if I got lucky. And so far, I've been lucky. I've caught 1 or 2 every day. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I struggled today. I had 5 keepers is all I had to hit, and I caught all 5 of them. I didn't lose one, so I had a lucky day today.
Lucky or not, 27 pounds, 14 ounces for 2 days. Stanley's got his act together. But Zell Rowland upstages him. 13 pounds, 8 ounces, the day's biggest weigh-in.
No, did you just get lucky to stumble on some fish?
I fished a little bit differently than what I did yesterday, and a lot of the water that I saw today was just getting beat to death, and I changed my technique of fishing and was able to go in behind a lot of the guys and catch them.
Are you fishing just a little bit deeper?
Well, maybe.
Maybe.
Keep them guessing, Zell. Tomorrow shapes up as a showdown. Stanley Mitchell's lead shrinks to 2 pounds, with Zell Rowland jumping into second. Tom Buckingham drops to third. In the Angler of the Year race, Rick Clunn gains a step on Kevin Van Dam. The gap narrows to 10 pounds, 3 ounces. Is Kevin concerned?
I try to have a lot of confidence when I go into a tournament, and I do at this tournament too, but, you know, if it was anybody else back there but Rick, I might feel a little different.
You really respect him, don't you?
He's my hero, so.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with third round action in the Bassmaster BP Top 100 from North Carolina's Lake Norman following these messages.